Hi everyone. This is a linear graph, and this is what we're going to be working with today. This represents a function, which is basically when we take an input value, which we usually call x, and then we assign it an output value, which we usually call y. So an example of like an x, y, or input-output pairing would be like 1, 2, or 3, 6. And what this graph does basically is represent it visually. So above the input, x equals 1, we put a dot at x equals 2, which is the output, and then we've sort of done this infinitely many times until we get like a nice map of the function. So what we're learning about today is going to be rate of change, and rate of change basically asks what happens to the output when we change the input. So, for example, if we have a change of 2 in x, and that causes like a change of, say, 30 in y, that is going to be like a way bigger effect than if we, say, have a change of 2 in x, which causes a change of just 4 in y. And the way that we can like directly compare these two is by writing these as a proportion. So for example, if we have 30 over 2, which is 15, that's going to be a way bigger number than, say, 4 over 2, which is just 2. And then you could notice here that I've written like the change in y over the change in x. And that's exactly how we're going to calculate the rate of change of this graph. So with this graph, the rate of change is visually represented by the slope. So the change in x is here. When we go from, say, 1 to 3, and we usually call this the run, because you can imagine sort of like running along the x-axis. And then the change in y is going to be represented by this vertical distance between 6 and 2. And we usually call this the rise, because it's the vertical height. So with this example, we can write, when we're calculating the slope or the rate of change, we can write the change in y over the change in x. Or you can say rise over run. And in this case, it's going to be 4 over 2. So that means that a change of 2 in x is going to cause a change of 4 in y. And then we can sort of simplify this to say 2 over 1, or just 2. And when we're talking about slope and rate of change, we're usually talking about how a change of 1 unit in x causes changes in y. So this 2 is exactly what we're going to call our slope, or the rate of change in y. So to help you sort of remember this concept, I have a little rhyme. To find how much y changes when x increases by 1, pick 2 points on the graph and write rise over run. So if we can all repeat that together.
To find how much y changes when x increases by 1, pick 2 points on the graph and write rise over run.